And it looks, I don't know, has she given birth maybe? There she is, in the golden light. She's got a very swollen belly, but it looks to me a little bit like she might actually be lactating. Let's just watch her carefully. This is very special. Oh my goodness, what are you looking for in there? You don't have your cubs in there, do you, my dear? No, you don't. Do you? Surely not. Good grief, can you imagine if that happened? Oh my goodness, I'm holding my breath. I can't believe this. Shh, shh. She's... Hi. I don't know if we should even move. I'm going to wait here. This is about the best view we've got. I can move, you know what, I can move a little bit around. We won't get any closer, but we can get around. We won't be able to look into that hole. That will be impossible. We walked past here today and we found her tracks on the road. We thought they were a bit old. Well, if this isn't a den site, it's certainly a prospective den site that she's casing. I tell you what, I'm not moving from here for the rest of this drive. I think she's given birth. Can you believe it? Now, before we go any further with this, it must be said that this area, if she has given birth, will be zoned very smartly. And we won't be able to come past here much until probably 6 weeks from now. But we are allowed to be here to confirm the birth of cubs, especially if we're only one person and we're not going to call this in. She's gone straight down into that termite mound. I've never seen a leopard give birth in a termite mound before. I've heard of it happening often, but I've never seen it myself. I can't believe what we've just witnessed. Either that or there is a warthog or something in there. Isn't that spectacular? I mean, she didn't go over the top there. She went inside, eh? She went straight inside. So I think we must just wait here, everybody, I'm afraid. I mean, I know we've got 2 other leopards today, so, you know, I don't feel too bad just sitting here and making you look at the breeze blowing through the golden swaying grass. And I'm sure you'd all agree with me that this is a good spot to stay. Now, when I looked at her, I thought to myself, she looks like there's a lot of moisture around where her teats are. And so that can only come from the suckling of little baby, tiny little leopard cubs. Wouldn't that be exciting? Oh, wow. Let's take the date, everybody. It's the 10th of November, is it? Tuesday. Yes, it's the 10th. 10th of November. I mean, we won't, if we don't see them now and we see them 3 weeks from now, we can take this as the date, or somewhere around the 10th of November. She's either giving birth as we speak, or she's about to, or she has given birth in there. But that is, for a leopard doesn't go into a termite mound to have a snooze. That's not what's going on here. This is by far the best angle we'll have of this termite mound. Yeah, no, Kristen, they do, absolutely. You say, do leopards move dens like lions do? Yes, they do, completely. As soon as this becomes slightly smelly, she will move, and they'll do it quite frequently. So, the last time Karula gave birth, which was not far from here, she moved it, we think, probably about 3 weeks or so after she had the babies. Certainly by 3 weeks after Brent found them, they had gone away. So I think, every time they get smelly, they'll move, because, a hyena will stick its nose in there and there'll be real trouble. It's not the best kind of a den site, I don't think, because they don't, there is no way of escaping from it. So, once they're in there, they're in there. But it will give protection from the elements, absolutely. The cubs, of course, are born, unlike a hyena, they're born completely blind and helpless, so they won't dig themselves a shelf like the hyenas will that will allow them to escape from any other predator. And also, when she goes away, there's no nursemaid left behind, like often there is with a pack of wild dogs. They obviously also use termite mounds. So, it's a difficult. I'm always worried at this stage, because it really is very difficult for them to survive. Okay, I'm not going anywhere from here. We're going to wait here and see what transpires. Let's head across to Kenya now. Apparently the sun is beginning to set, and in its golden copper rays, Scott and his leopard are sitting. Well, yes, potentially. I'm afraid there has been no movement as yet. Still, the hole remains relatively unoccupied. Well, not relatively unoccupied, it is occupied by at least one leopard. Now, she hasn't stuck her head out at all. She has done nothing further since we left you last. And I think that she's probably, like I say, if she isn't giving birth now, she's probably suckling the cubs. And if she's suckling them, well, she will be in there for as long as they suckle. And then I suspect she'll come and lie outside. I don't think she'll stay in there with them, but I might be wrong. So it's definitely, while that's not the most entertaining picture you've ever seen, we are going to remain here. Kathy, you want to know how big newborn leopard cubs are? I guess the best way to describe them is probably about the size of a squirrel, and probably about that big when they're born. Tiny, tiny little things. They grow very rapidly after that, but the size of a squirrel. Maybe a small squirrel, actually. And there can be probably between 2 or 3 of them, well, normally 2 or 3, up to 4 or 5 sometimes, but 2 or 3 seems to be the average around here. I've never seen a leopard manage to raise all 3 of her cubs. Normally they will lose 1. 2 is a good number for them. Now, this is interesting. Tamba is now how old? Tamba must be... I've forgotten all of this now. Tamba must be just 2. Wasn't he 2 in August? I don't remember. Somebody please tell me. Here we go. July last year. Good grief. Tamba is... Oh, yeah, so it was July, August, but he's only a year old. So for Thandi to have given birth now is very unusual. So again, the textbooks must be thrown out of the wall, out of the window, and let's see what happens. That is really interesting. So she's given birth, or is about to give birth, to a leopard only 12 months after her last one was birthed. That is quite something. Well, not 12 months. What is it now? It's almost... Well, it's 16 months. Whew. That is fascinating. Anyway, we'll see what happens. Amanda, you want to know if I've seen a leopard with more than 2 cubs? Yeah, like I say, I have seen leopards with 3 cubs fairly frequently. I've never seen one raise 3 cubs, though. Every single time I've seen a leopard with 3 cubs, she's lost at least one of them. So while it is possible for them to raise 3, I don't see why they shouldn't. it's obviously very difficult. And so, yeah, it does happen, but it's very unusual. Deadhead Tom, you say, if she does have cubs, does this mean that I get to name them? Well, in theory, Deadhead Tom, if we see them now, then that honour will fall, in theory, to me and Senzor. So what we will probably do is call them Alan and Alice, if they're male and female, won't we, Senzor? Because those are the best leopard names in the world. And if they're two males, then they'll be Alan and Alex. Or it could just be, well, let's make them generic. Let's call them Alex and Leslie. Alex and Leslie, perhaps, because those two are, well, names that can apply to girls and boys. Now, in all seriousness, while the honour may fall to me in theory, we would almost certainly hand it over, as we did for Karula's last group, for Shongile and Hosana. We'd give it to Texon and Aubrey. Almost forgot who he was for a second. Texon and Aubrey to do, because they've been here for so very long, so they should have that honour. Nothing else has happened just yet. It's quite a long suckling session, if that's what it is. It may, of course, be a birthing session, in which case its length is entirely explicable. Kristen, you're wondering about sound coming from the burrow. I am listening quite carefully, but no, I can't hear anything. I wonder if we wouldn't be able to hear something if there wasn't quite so much wind. At the moment, we might just be able to hear the odd sort of cheeping sound from the very little cubs. But, you know, if there are cubs in there, they are probably no more than a day or two old, in which case their ability to make a noise will be very, very limited indeed. This is quite spectacular. Now, William, you want to know if Thandi leaves, will we go around or go there and check to see if the cubs are there? Yes, what we'll do is Senzor will stand guard. I will walk up there and sort of go shoulder length in, pull them out, check what kind they are, you know, probably give them a rabies shot, put them back in there. No, we would leave it entirely as is, William. We wouldn't do anything at all. I have heard of people doing precisely what I've just described to you without giving them a jab. And, well, apart from being massively dangerous, because if the mother suddenly turns around and comes back, you can get yourself into real trouble, it's obviously leaving very strange scent on the cubs. It'll distress the mother hugely. Who knows what she would do? She might abandon them. So, no, we wouldn't just stay right where we are here. We wouldn't go any closer than this. And if she was to leave now, we would just go as well, because they would be so tiny they'd never come out on their own. So, yeah, William, that's what we do here. It can be, if you have just joined us, by the way, we're sitting here at a termite mound with a hole in it, and the hole there was occupied very recently, probably about 20 minutes ago, by Thandi. We're waiting to see if perhaps she doesn't either bring her cubs out or emerge herself. While we do that, the sun, you can see, is setting just behind this hole, casting a very pleasant light on the situation. Let's go back across to Noel and a leopard that was born, well, a little bit before these ones. All right. Well, yeah, we'll probably sit here, like I say, for another 10 minutes, so send through any questions or comments that you might have. Oh, she's out, she's out, she's out, she's out, she's out, she's out. I'm warning you, I'm going to take some illegal pictures if anything does emerge from there. I think it's allowed. She's stuck her head out there. I'm just going to turn the... Sorry, Lou, I missed the last question. I'm just going to be very quiet. I'm torn between being extremely quiet and just talking normally, because I really want them to be used to our voices from very early on. Now, a question from somebody called Nachropolin, is that called? Right, Nachropolin? Oh, just Lynn, not Nachropolin. Just Lynn. Lynn, you want to know if Tingana came across them, what would happen? We don't really know. He's almost certainly the father, and so chances are, and this is his territory, so chances are he'd be absolutely fine with him. But she will not want him too close by. So I think the thing is to just keep a very sort of muted commentary going, rather than being completely silent, even if it means we don't see them now. Well, I mean, if we do see them, she'll have to pick them up and bring them out. But I think the trick is that they must become as used to our voices as soon as possible. That you saw how she stuck her head out and looked straight at us. So like I say, I don't want to put any kind of pressure on her at this stage, so 5 minutes or so and we'll leave. We're not even going to use the infrared light on her. Not that she'd be able to see it, but I just don't want to bash around here in the dark trying to get out. The camera is poised, ready to take any pictures that there might be. So we're going to give it another 2 minutes, and then we'll see. Well, you see, Philip, this is the thing that the textbooks will tell you, no, they can't. You say, can a leopard raise new cubs and a sub-adult at the same time? Well, Thamba is obviously killing for himself. He must be. Or he'd be getting very hungry, I suspect. So the answer is, I don't think that she has... I'm not sure that she has the ability at the moment to look after all of them. She might kill an impala somewhere and then go and eat it, and he might find it and then finish it. So it does happen from time to time, but it'll be difficult for her. But Scott has often made mention of the fact that of the times, and he's seen this quite often, of previous litters feeding with current litters once they're old enough, of course, to be out of the den and eating meat. So, I don't see why she shouldn't, especially as he's on his own. So it's not like she's got to feed two others. Yeah, you can see the light has gone now completely. Marisha, you're wondering about an exit hole on the back side that we can't see. You say, is it possible? It is possible. I think it's highly unlikely, though. She wouldn't have stuck her head out of that hole if it was, if there was one. So, no, I don't think so. I think it's just that hole. Oh, very fascinating. You did get her there when she stuck her head out, eh? Let's see what happens. Louise says 20 seconds. Let me just check the timing here. Yeah, let's give it another minute or so. And then we'll head away. The thing is, even if they are in there, she's not going to pick them up and hold them out unless she's moving den. So I guess in that way this is quite a good spot for her to be. Still, at least we got to see a leopard before the end of the drive. Okay, I think that's probably going to be it. We're going to move out of here before it gets dark and I can't see what's going on and I hit a tree on the way out. And someone will come back past here in the morning and we'll see if we aren't very, very lucky with Thandi's little cubs. Okay, while we move out, we're going to go across to Noelle. I don't know what she's doing. She's left her leopard and she's going to head into the night, or into the coming night, and hopefully find something exciting.